Yes, sir.
In the Iowa debate, I enjoyed them, and I thought you did a great job there.
Thank you.
I was a little bit shocked on one answer, and I don't think you got to give your answer to the growing threat of nuclear arms in Iran. And what your thoughts would be on that, what plan you might have if this proceeds on its current course.
Sure. First of all, accept the reality that Iran is going to do what Iran wants to do. Ahmadinejad has said that. He has thumbed his nose at America, at Britain, and the rest of the world many times, saying they're going to do what they want to do. All of the inspection programs are not going to stop it. All of the sanctions we can come up with not going to stop them. Here is the only thing that's going to stop them. Economics. Remember that energy independence plan that I talked about earlier, where we are going to drive down the cost of a barrel of oil? As long as oil is above $70 a barrel, Iran makes money. When it goes below $70 a barrel, they can't support most of their social programs and pay for government. Saudi Arabia, their break-even point is $30 a barrel. So when we become a player in energy on the world market and drive the price of oil back down below $70 a barrel, they're going to run out of money to build a nuclear program. This is how we deal with it. Economics, not just market bullets. Economics. Yes, the lady that was yelling at me. Yes, ma'am.
I may have missed the beginning of the stand where you stand as far as all the wars in the Middle East. And what we would do if you became president.
Yeah, no one had asked. We got to take them one at a time, because there's not a silver bullet for each one of them, given that we are there. When I stated earlier about how I would make a decision about us going into war, that would be for the future. But assuming that we're going to still be in this stuff now, here's what I would do. Let's start with Afghanistan. Afghanistan is not just one situation. It's three. There's three parts to this problem. We got the military piece. We're trying to help the Afghanistans defend themselves against the Taliban and help them be able to fight their own war. Secondly, the Afghan government has some issues, and we've got to do a better job of figuring out who is it within the government truly are our friends and who's not our friends. That is not an easy thing to do. I was briefed by a former member of the Afghanistan government, and she was very open about a lot of the internal issues. You don't hear about that in the newspaper. They're too busy trying to, pick out a Republican nominee, so you don't hear about, the other stuff. And the third issue is we got to manage the relationship between Pakistan and Afghanistan, because Pakistan has a nuke. So it's going to be a very delicate situation to deal with each of those. Here's what I do not agree with. When the president announced that he was going to withdraw about a third of the troops we have in Afghanistan, and then told our enemies that he was going to do this, I wouldn't have done that. I know that this was something that he wanted to do to fulfill the campaign promise. Because when he announced that strategy, both Admiral Mullen, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and General Petraeus, general in charge of the operation, both said that, quote, the president's plan was more aggressive than expected. That's military soldier talk for he didn't listen to us. That's all that was. things that has allowed me to be successful in business, which will allow me to be successful as president. I will listen to my experts for their advice and then make a decision with that input. I'm worried about this drawdown and we're telling the Taliban because they can just sit back and wait until our forces are 1/3 smaller. What do you think that does to the ones that are left? It makes their job tougher, and I'm concerned that now we don't have enough folk over there. The surge was working. So that's what I would do about Afghanistan. The final exit date will depend upon what the generals tell me about can we win. If we can't, what is the exit strategy? That's how I would approach Afghanistan. Libya is a mess. This president has gotten us into an absolute mess. And I don't have an answer as to how we get out of this mess right now. I just know that we need a strategy based upon what is it that we're trying to accomplish. I don't know what that is. It started out supposedly to be humanitarian aid, but this thing has gone way beyond humanitarian aid. So that's Libya. Syria, I am sorry that their government head is killing his own people. That breaks my heart. We cannot be the policeman for the world, so no, we do not go into Syria. Iraq. Our job in Iraq is almost done. There's a little bit more work to be done. But I won't know until I talk to the generals on the ground how much longer we need to stay, what else we need to do. Every country, we will have a specific approach for each one of them. Yes, sir.
Cain, speaking of the Near East situation, can you give us your position on Israel and the creation of a Palestinian state and that mess that's been going on for the past 40 years?
First of all, I am a staunch supporter of Israel. They have been and continue to be our best friends in that part of the world. A lot of people don't realize that they are our friends not only because of historical reasons, biblical reasons, but also because when we're in that part of the world, we can count on them because we can't come all the way back home to get, fuel for our ships and planes and stuff like that. So we have a lot of strategic reasons why I want to continue that. And I have stated in no uncertain terms that the Cain doctrine is real simple. You mess with Israel, you mess with the United States. The other part, Palestinian state. I don't agree with what they call unilateral recognition by the United Nations of Palestine and their government without consideration of what the wishes are of Israel. They have bribed enough members of the United Nations, and they're going to try to force a vote. The United States today, as I understand it, is going to vote against that. The way the rules are set up, every nation gets one vote. They believe that they have enough votes to recognize them as independent states. If they do that, but take away some of the conditions that Israel is demanding, I have a real problem with that. So we don't know exactly how it's going to come out at this point. But if they wanted to be recognized as a state, and they didn't infringe upon Israel's border, they didn't infringe upon Israel's security, so be it. But if they infringe upon Israel's borders, Israel's security, I got a problem with that.